like science.
I like science.
I like science.
Here she go.
Here me go.
Science.
She actually said that before starting recording.
And to say here I go or here we go, but not here me go.
Here me go.
Hi guys. Welcome to Shield Modulation, episode 31. 31, Dave.
31, section 31,
Yeah.
which is fitting considering the subject of tonight's episode.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Brandy.
Hi, Brandy, I'm Dave.
You're acting like we're just talking to each other.
Well, it's like Paul and June in How Did This Get Made?
Mm.
They're very formal, especially during live shows. Hi, June, how are you? I'm fine, Paul. They've been married for years and have kids.
Well, we've been married for years, no kids,
Yeah,
but
no kids.
this year will be number 28 as
Yeah.
far as years we've been married. So that's
Yeah.
insanity.
Paul and June, both been on Star Trek, especially Paul. He's on Lower Decks, or was.
Yeah.
Played
I miss
Billups.
Lower Decks. I miss Lower Decks.
I believe he played Billups, the engineer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was Andy. He was Andy Billups.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this episode is going to be Star Trek Discovery. If you were listening last week, you already know this. Star Trek Discovery, season 3, episode 10, Terra Firma Part 2. Sorry again about reading the wrong line number. And that means since this is our first episode that we've covered from Discovery, we get to talk about what we thought of Discovery when it first came out, etc.
Yep.
Do you want to start?
I'd say it was a little rough at the start. The first season, the first episode even. It took some pretty big leaps, but that's what I like about Discovery in the long run, is it takes chances. I think of all the Star Trek series is, I mean, Lower Decks is really its own thing. I guess Prodigy, the animation stuff, because they can do so much more with animation than they can do live action. But
True.
just story and character concepts and where they take Star Trek Discovery is just, it like really explores what you can do with speculative fiction. And I know it was a troubled production at the start. You had a lot of people behind the scenes getting shuffled around, being replaced, and it took a little while to get to the Discovery that I love. But there were signs of it. The talent was there. You have incredible actors who've been celebrated for other things. I mean, being in the show Rent for one thing, and then Sonequa being beloved for her, relatively small part on The Walking Dead, but she was, acclaimed for it. So, yeah, a lot of incredible talent, and I think once they learned to utilize the talent well, it was pretty incredible series and still remains possibly my favorite. Lower Decks is great. Strange New Worlds is it's like a difficult boyfriend. There's times I really love it, and other times I'm like, what are you doing? So, yeah, and Discovery, it's out there. It can challenge a Star Trek fan, I think, but because I was a more casual fan, I think I embraced it better than a lot of people who hate Discovery because it isn't the Star Trek they want. But then Next Generation got that same heat. The people
Every
who
new Star
loved,
Trek series
yeah,
has every single one.
yeah, all the original series lovers, the Next Generation came around. They're like, what is this? Because all they do is stand around and talk. They don't do anything. There's no action.
Well, and of course, they kind of broke the mold because the series started with Michael Burnham as a commander. She was not the captain of the ship, and people took umbrage with that. People took umbrage that it was the main character was female and black, and there are just a lot of stupid reasons that were put forth as to why they didn't like Discovery. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. Just go away and don't ever talk about it again, okay? That's all you need to do.
Yeah, it's not going to be your Star Trek if you hate woke. because
Yeah.
it's Star Trek Discovery, and it's something we've actually done a convention panel on at FanX.
Yep.
It's a show about emotional intelligence.
Hmm.
People complain about them talking about their feelings all the time, and that's the fucking point of the show.
Yep.
That's what it's doing. It's Star Trek is made in the time. It catches the zeitgeist. That's why there's something so very 80s about Next Generation, something so kind of 90s about Deep Space Nine, as something so 60s about the original series, as it's a reflection of the time it is made. But because it's speculative fiction, it takes what's going on in those moments and expands it.
Hmm.
And right around, the time of Discovery, there was more of an involvement in people seeking therapy and developing your emotional intelligence and understanding that there's other ways to deal with conflict than through violence. That we talk through our problems and we understand such things as trauma and what that brings up, and survivor's guilt that gets addressed several times. And there's a truck nearby that's rubbing its engine, and you probably can't hear it because Zoom's noise cancellation is amazing.
Hmm.
So you would probably complain about a noise you can't hear. But yeah, that's what Discovery is. And it goes over post-traumatic stress disorder. It dealing with death and with queer identity and just so many different things, and family trauma. And yeah, it's remarkable the things it can address. And could it done some things better? I think so. Some of the supporting cast didn't really get much of a spotlight. I know that's a charge leveled against Discovery, is some characters just we knew their names and their station and maybe a couple of other things about them, and that was about it.
Yeah, but
And
that
even to
that
the yeah.
was that was typical of any Star Trek series.
Yeah, because I mean, what really did Sulu and Chekhov have to do most of the time in the
Well, and
original
not
series? Did
not
they?
only that, how many different people did we see at the con in Next Generation?
Yeah, well, that was kind of a friend of the producer kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's like
even
we
so, though.
saw people at the helm that we never got their name. They were in there for one episode. It's like, let's dress them up in the Starfleet uniform, film them, have them walk off and get replaced by, the scale actor, somebody who's not an extra.
Yeah, but I mean, that
So,
even happens in Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
yeah.
So it's not something that bothered me particularly. And they did give those people moments to shine in the later seasons,
Yeah.
I should say.
They tried,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of catching up to do, and I don't still think they didn't. I mean, some of them they did, like we get Owo and Detmer, we got a bit more of them. But what's his name? Bryce?
That's okay. Bryce is a special circumstance because
Yeah,
I think I want to say it's season 4 and 5, but it might just be season 5. He had commitments to another show. And
right.
so he wasn't able to film every episode. He was in some of them. And then they had another guy whose name I can't remember, but he was cute and I liked him. So he was the one who was there. And sometimes we still saw Bryce, but
Right.
it was not very frequently because of his commitment to this other show, this other
Yeah.
job he had.
And
So
some of those things can't really be helped, so, they
exactly.
do what they can. And really, do we need everyone on the bridge crew to get an episode?
Not
I could
necessarily.
see some people might get accustomed to that because that's sort of what they did with Voyager. We
Yeah.
got a lot of episodes, but with Discovery having fewer episodes, you can really not devote as much time to everyone. And so sometimes people aren't going to be on the main stage, so to speak, that we're going to deal with Saru and Michael and,
Yeah.
Pike once he's there, Lorca. And really, it's
Stannis.
Michael's story, so we're following her
That's true, but it
mainly.
is still very much an ensemble
Yeah.
cast.
And the further it
So,
goes on, the more of an ensemble piece it becomes.
yeah.
And I think that's also about the emotional intelligence thing, is they start as a very fractured crew, very isolated, not really working well together, except falling in line into what the orders are. And even then there's conflict, like between Lorca and Stamets. There's a definite resistance there.
Hmm.
But yeah, eventually learning to work with one another, or at least attempt to,
Yeah.
because we still have some issues between like Stamets and Reno. It's
Well, that's
like,
because they're too much alike.
yeah, how much power do you need to drain to work, you know, the your sciences when engineering needs that power to do its own thing,
Yeah, well,
which
we'll talk
gets
about that during the episode.
done in this episode, but it's
Yeah.
it's something that gets brought up a lot between
Yeah.
the two of them.
Yep.
So
Well,
how
that's
about you and Discovery?
well, Discovery, okay. So, but even before Discovery started, I was invited to be part of a live reaction show on a podcast network that isn't the same name anymore. And I honestly don't remember what their name is now. But anyway, um, and that was where I met Bruce Gibson, whom I adore. And that's also where I met
Bruce.
Dan Gunther, whom I adore.
Damn.
So, but doing it was called Live from the Edge, and we would on the Friday after the series happened, we would do a live show about the episode. And I cried a lot, especially during season 2. But that was my first foray into doing a live show.
Right.
And I really enjoyed it until I didn't, and that's okay because Dan and Bruce and I all ended up in better places. So,
Right.
uh, and in fact, Dan and I still do a live show about the newest episode of Star Trek called The Unready Room, and we've talked about that before on the podcast. So, without that experience, I don't know that there would be an Unready Room. So, I am grateful for that. I immediately liked Sonequa as Michael Burnham. I think that it is absolutely the biggest baller move that I have ever seen in Star Trek, to throw her in the brig and put her in prison for the rest of her life in
Mhm.
episode 2.
Yeah, for her mutiny in the first episode.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is that I could see where she was coming from. I
Yeah.
could absolutely see where she was coming from. And yet the thing is she didn't go through channels. She didn't get she, okay, remember of course the episode of Strange New Worlds we saw, episode 7, where Kirk is just constantly trying to get his captain to do something a little more risky.
Mhm.
That's the same thing with Giorgio.
Yep.
She is way more experienced than Michael. Michael's a great first officer, but at the same time, she right now is very gung ho and I know best and I'm going to get us out of this sort of thing. Just taking it on herself. And she does this throughout the series, taking on things herself. But she comes to realize that she has people around her that trust her and whom she trusts. And the evolution of her character between season 1 and season 5 is a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's her arc is she goes from the soloist, the was it first person player,
Mm-hmm.
video game where it's like a one player video game, into where she has to collaborate and work with her team.
Mm-hmm.
She has to go from being, the sacrificial lamb, the martyr, into understanding that they're a family and they're there to support one another, and it's not all upon her shoulders to carry the weight.
Indeed.
And so you go from her becoming, well, that's a spoiler, but this is a review show, so we assume you've watched the whole of Star Trek and are current, but the Red Angel situation,
Mm-hmm.
and that, it's on her to save them from control and to bring their Zora into the future so it can't be abused.
Yeah, the interesting thing though is yes, she had to travel through time and set up all of these things that were necessary in order for her to be able to take Discovery into the future. And the thing is, though, is that it's also bringing people to her that need to help. So we've got, Jet Reno, we get early on. Oh my gosh, Poe, who's Zahian Queen. She actually is first appeared in a short trek, and her showing up is something that was necessary in order for them to create the power source that they needed to power the Red Angel suit. And just all of these people they meet along the way that help, that were necessary, that they wouldn't have otherwise. So it's one of those things where the end comes before the beginning, or the beginning comes before the end, because all of this stuff happens after the fact. But she's seeing the Red Angel. She sees the Red Angel on the Hiawatha when everybody else is escaping. She got everybody else out, but now she's trying to get out. Some stuff falls on her. Her leg is really badly injured, and she sees the Red Angel. She's seeing herself from the future. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that then.
Yeah, and for a time she thinks it's her mother because they share the same mitochondrial DNA. Yeah.
Yep. So it's honestly, out of all of Star Trek, I think it's the most what's the word I'm looking for here? Oh, I hate when I do this. I think it's the most daring as far as what they do, the people who are part of the crew, the stories that they tell. I really think that there is nothing else quite like Discovery in the whole of Star Trek. And it's always going to have a huge place in my heart, just for various reasons, and especially since it brought me a new Spock.
Yep. Which you were kind of unsure of at first, but then, you grew on him quite quickly.
I did. Well, the thing is that when they first when they first played the first teaser trailer, and I finally got a look at him, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. They're doing something different here, and this guy's hot. I'm on board. and I still was trepidatious until we actually, and it's almost, I think it's halfway, almost more than halfway through the season before we actually see Spock, really. And but boy, does he steal the scenes a lot of the time. And the fact that this is something, I mean, without this show, there wouldn't be Strange New Worlds. That's just a fact.
Because it introduced Pike and helped issue in the Strange New Worlds cast. And there's Pike was a popular enough character, Una and Spock as well.
Mm-hmm.
That
we get very little of Una in the season, but still, what we have of her is great.
But it was good to spin it off into Strange New Worlds for a different feel too, to get away from the long form narrative that Discovery is to a more fractious episode of the week sort of storyline that Strange New Worlds follows.
Well, the thing is that Strange New Worlds, yes, they're episodic in a way that Discovery is not, but at the same time, there is an overarching story always.
Yeah.
It's not just episode of the week all the time. Everything matters. The slate is not wiped clean after every episode.
And things go from season to season too. Something that happens in season 1 will follow through in season 2 and into season 3.
Yeah. So I'm ever so grateful that Discovery exists. I believe they really started to find their feet at the end of season 1. And because it's interesting because you can kind of see where the break is. Like, okay, up until this episode, they had all of these others that were working on it, and it just is not going the direction that they wanted. And then after that episode, which I'm gonna say is like the last 6 episodes ish, it takes a different turn, and you can see what it could become. So you can feel it. It's been a while since I've watched season 1, and I keeps threatening to rewatch Discovery, and I'm going to. especially since we have a long weekend. I'm gonna get a few episodes in, but I think that's where it started to find its feet. Season 2 really cap cashed in on that, and yeah, we didn't know what exactly was going to happen, and what they did blew my damn mind.
Yep.
So and then you have a whole new future that no one has ever touched in canon, as far as, because canon is what's seen on television.
Right.
And just you can do so many more things because you are not constrained by the time period in which you started. So,
And the kind of stuff they had to do to deal with Discovery's timeline
mhm,
is that the thing they did by taking Zora into the future so that control wouldn't be a thing. So, this weird mechanized source wouldn't be a thing.
mhm,
That had to be redacted to such the degree that Spock never talks about his sister anymore.
mhm. Well, that's the thing. It's like all of this is classified.
Yeah. I
So,
mean, super classified to the point that it is treason to even discuss Discovery.
yep.
That they're pretty much written off the books like they never existed,
Mhm,
which is a wild thing to make sure that timelines are intact for like continuity in the
mhm.
Star Trek series, is that people can just ignore Discovery, but at the same time, we have Strange New Worlds because of Discovery, and we know Strange New Worlds develops into what would be the original series, just timeline wise. So,
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of it begins. I mean, granted, Enterprise takes place even before Discovery, but yeah, Discovery
Well, yeah, everything
starts
takes
off a
place
lot.
before um that's the thing is Enterprise is way, way earlier.
Yeah,
Like this is the first Warp 5 ship, and the Vulcans are still being bitches and and not
yeah,
wanting them to go out and explore. And they're just like, fuck you, we're doing it anyway.
yeah,
So, because that's the thing about the Vulcans. It's like, yes, they came to Earth and they're like, oh, yeah, okay, you have warp drive now. We can help you. We couldn't do it before because you didn't have the technology, and now you do. We're going to give you some help. But you have to do everything exactly the way we say. That's basically what I got from the Vulcan interference in trying to get a Warp 5 ship out. So,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, what's really peculiar about the episode we're to discuss, Terraforming Part 2, is that, yeah, while we're here to talk about Discovery,
Hmm.
this is a sort of difficult episode to do that about because so much of it takes place in the mirror universe.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of it? I mean, some of it we are addressing our usual cast and crew, but a lot of it is the mirror universe versions of them. And
Yeah.
it's also odd in such a limited season that you would devote 2 episodes to saying farewell to a character that is important to Michael, but I don't know how important she is in the long run to all of Discovery.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't intend for her to be in the future with everyone for the rest of the series. And
Right.
so they had to give her an exit. They had to,
Yeah.
and that's what they did with this episode. And but the thing is that it's building up through the season. She's basically her being in the future is destroying her.
Yes. And that's understandable. And but it is a lot of time to devote to this character when you have an
Yeah, but
entire
I get
season of Star Trek Discovery.
I know, but at the same time, we're seeing a different side of the story
Yeah.
because this is just Giorgio. It's just her that we know in this episode. Everybody else is Mirror.
Right.
Everybody else. Well, technically, Giorgio is too, but she's not the same person that she was when Michael forcefully removed her from the Charon before they died. So it's interesting because she And that's the let's just talk about the
Yeah, well,
episode.
that's the crux of the episode. That's the central theme is that a person can evolve
Hmm.
from who they were into somebody else. That you can take somebody who was raised in the mirror universe and where that culture, that life demanded a certain something of you, is that it's through conflict and through dominance that you thrive. And to go to another universe where it's through cooperation and empathy and understanding that you create peace. And it's not through war that you find peace, it's through, finding avenues to work together. And that's something she tries to bring to the mirror universe, and that is a steep hill to climb, as we find out. But yes,
Yeah.
it's odd also that once again, when we get into the first episode of a series, it is the second part of a two-parter. This seems to happen to us a lot. So it's kind of
Yep.
tricky to discuss an episode on its own when, it's the second half of the
Yeah.
story.
Well, anyone who's watched it before listening to this episode got the recap. So I don't think anyone listening to this is going to be terribly confused. But I got to put my glasses on so I can read shit that I wrote down.
Okay.
But yeah, we get a previously on Star Trek Discovery thing, of course. And I basically wrote down a Mirror Universe Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the Giorgio that is from the Mirror Universe. I should no, I'm not going to say that. She basically is trying to break her Michael Burnham because she got basically groomed and brainwashed by Lorca. And because Lorca was basically trying to attempt a coup, really. You with me, Dave?
Yeah. Yeah. I was listening to you. I didn't want to interrupt.
That's okay. And so she's trying to get Michael to give up her conspirators, and she won't. And so she's gonna break Michael. She's gonna break Michael. So basically, so she can keep her alive.
Yeah.
That's
She's, breaking her so she won't have to kill her because she's hoping in her heart that she can turn Michael to think the way she does. And it's odd in the way that she does it too, because Giorgio is still in some ways Giorgio of the Mirror
Mhm.
Universe.
Yes.
Is that she is not a person from the, if you want to call it the Prime Universe,
Hmm.
that she has been around people from the Prime Universe and she's picked up certain things from them and learned certain things from them, but she is not of that makeup. And so
Hmm.
you see her falling back on some of the other aspects, except in one case, and that's with the Kelpians.
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
and even the Kelpians, she's kind of still got that mirror universe hardness, is like whatever is it? It's something like Jirai or something, whatever.
Vaharai.
Baharai. Yeah, that culling thing that Kelpians have been, through propaganda told that this biological change that they experience at a certain age will lead to their death.
Hmm.
That once they start experiencing this change, it will kill them, and it's a painful process, and they're better off being killed before that happens.
Yeah.
And with Saru, it was Michael's reluctance to kill him that he went through it because she refused to kill him, and he made it through to the other side and discovered that, oh, that fear of death thing, that constantly thinking you're being hunted and stuff, that was like evolutionary safeguard for the young,
Hmm.
is to act like your prey. Once you go through the Vaharai, you become a predator. That all that switches, that you go from running to pursuing. You develop these like chin or cheek spikes that you can shoot at people, and that your speed and strength seem to develop too, because we see the new Saru being more powerful and quite frightening.
Mm.
Um,
If he wants to
so
be.
yeah, if he wants to be. So this is something that Philippa tells her Kelpian servant is because he asks, "So would you please do me the honor of killing me, calling me before her eye takes me?" She's like, "No, I refuse, and this is why. That's a myth. It's a myth that you die. You'll see to the other side, and you can teach this to others." And in that regard, through that action, we find out that the Kelpians become a major resistance force
Mm-hmm.
against the Terran Empire because, they learned that they have this power that they've denied themselves through propaganda and through fear and gaslighting that,
Yeah.
they've been told experience will kill them, and so they die, they basically kill one another before that change can happen.
Yeah. And it's interesting because she actually tells Saru, I mean, this is obviously Saru in the mirror universe
Right.
because, we
Because it's Doug
know,
Jones for one
yeah.
thing.
And so she's telling Saru about the Saru that she knows.
Yep.
And she even says his name and explains, this is what he went through, and that's how I know that you're not going to die from this. So you need to leave, you need to deal with this, and then you need to tell your people, you
Hmm.
need to show them what they can become.
And you see this realization come across uh, Mira Saru's face.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I mean, Doug Jones is an amazing actor, and he's been in prosthetics a lot, under the direction of Del Toro or whatever. He's made in monster makeup a lot, and he's always been superb at acting through it all. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even being the moon in those old McDonald's commercials.
Yeah, basically his head was a crescent moon.
Yeah, a big crescent moon. So, even then he could act through all the prosthetics, and you see in his eyes and how he carries himself this realization that all these people have died unnecessarily. They've been cold rather than go through his family. And Flippa tells him that you don't grieve them, you avenge them, that you can carry forth, tell others that, this is a myth you can survive through, and through that, use that strength and resist. And another interesting aspect of this is that she recognizes that how he treats her is loyalty, it isn't subservience.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting because the Philippa of old, one of her favorite delicacies was eating the ganglia, the threat
Yeah.
ganglia of Kelpians, because it's a delicacy in the mirror universe. And so, they're hunted and killed and cooked, which
Mm-hmm.
is bleh.
Yeah. It's gross to eat a sentient beings. Don't do it. It's
Yeah.
interesting because Michael, after she's broken, supposedly,
Mhm.
brings that up. She's like, "Oh, so ganglia's off the menu, huh? We're not doing that anymore."
I like how Philippa just dismisses it as like, well, it's too high in carbohydrates, it's
Mm,
stringy. All
cholesterol.
these excuses as
Hmm.
to why they're no longer calling Kelpians for just the threat ganglia.
Yeah.
And we see Captain Killy
Oh,
being
Killy.
the one to torture Michael because Killy is like their best interrogator, and she's captain of the Mirror Discovery.
Hmm.
It's her ship in the Mirror universe,
Yep.
which is fun because it is a mirror of our Tilly, Prime Tilly's interest in possibly doing the command route and becoming a captain herself.
Yeah.
Because that was something that happened, I think, was it season 2 when she started thinking about doing the command thing?
Yeah, that was actually season two, because she talks about it a lot in season one.
Yeah,
And in season two, she's no longer going to be a cadet. She is going
right.
to move up to ensign. And there's like this whole what would you call it? It's not, I don't know. It's basically a lot of different exercises for people who are working towards command.
Yeah.
And you get to do all of these different things, see what it is, what route of command you want to go, etc. I mean, there's all command, obviously, but it's, do you want to be on the bridge? Do you want to be a captain. What do you want?
Yep.
And Tilly thinks that that is what she wants for a great deal of time. And the thing is that sometimes we go through things that we realize the goals that we had before no longer fit us, and that's what happens to Tilly later in Discovery.
Yeah.
Is she realizes the goals that she has no longer fit her.
Yes, she much prefers teaching
Mm-hmm.
and aiding others than commanding in her own right. Because she had a brief spell in the captain's chair.
And she did not like it.
Yeah, she did not like it. And she had a tough job.
Mm-hmm.
That because the ship was um taken over by hostile forces at the time. And so
Osira.
yeah, it was a difficult time to be a captain when your ship's being um
Boarded.
boarded, yeah,
Yeah.
by enemies. And so
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, getting to see a lot of mirror types, mirror Culver being quite
Mirror Culver is
frightening.
terrifying. Yeah. I
Yeah,
don't
just
like it.
this mad grin
Mm-hmm.
and you know this kind of Dr. Mengele kind of thing where he uses medical knowledge to torture and make sure somebody's still alive so you can torture them more.
Mm-hmm. You don't want them to die because then you can't torture them anymore.
Oh, the makeup job on Sonequa when she's going through the starvation phase when
Oh my
she's
God, yeah.
locked up
Mm-hmm.
and being tortured. They made her ashen, which was an interesting choice, you know, just the sunken eyes,
Mm-hmm.
the lips that were starting to turn like whitish and yeah,
Yeah.
it's she looked like hauntedly broken. And then
Mm-hmm.
the whole thing with the basically alien type fireflies and Philippa telling the story of that, you know, when they first discovered her, she just screamed through the night because who knows where they found, you know, young Michael Burnham
Yeah,
early days. If
indeed.
it was the same kind of situation where her parents were killed by Klingons, maybe, who knows, you know, what was Michael's story. I think it might get addressed in part one. We just didn't watch part one, so
Yeah, I
that
don't
part of the
remember
story
very clearly.
isn't fresh in my mind. But anyhow, that you know she is a survivor of trauma as well as our prime Michael, who experienced her parents being killed by Klingons.
Yeah. It's kind of devastating when you realize that Michael was never broken,
Oh
that
yeah,
she's like, "No, you've lost your way." And Philippa's trying to explain there is a different way to do this. It doesn't have to be this way. We can still be this strong empire, but we don't have to do this shit.
and Michael senses the change in Giorgio
Mm-hmm.
that something happened to her, that she's the different emperor than she knows. Because she had
Yes.
this experience with the Prime Discovery crew,
Yeah.
who taught her another way,
Yeah.
that there is a benefit to kindness, to empathy, to compassion, to cooperation. There's a way to rule in a benevolent fashion that you don't have to be cruel, you don't have to be vindictive, you don't have to have constant wars. This is something she addresses over and over again is that how many rebellions have there been? How much resistance have we faced? How many of our own, you know, Terran empire, you know, how many people have we lost just trying to
Maintain.
yeah, maintain control and to stop these rebellions. And Michael's saying, you don't even know what's going on. You're so out of the loop. You have no idea that this coalition is forming between like Klingons and Vulcans and Romulans and whoever else, Orions, is everybody. They're forming a coalition against the Terran Empire in order to survive. And of course, Philippa being Philippa, even so, still manages in this. Is it a hallucination? Who knows what it is?
No, it's not a hallucination.
It's
And
real.
it's
So she's
it's
really there.
it is well, the thing is that when she comes back, her chronometer says that she has that 3 months have passed.
Well, yeah, because I think the Guardian of Forever even says there's many yous
Mm-hmm.
out there in the universe.
Yeah.
And so she's occupying in kind of a quantum leap fashion
Yeah.
herself
Mm-hmm.
And so when she's left at the end of the episode, stabbed and bleeding out, she gets pulled from that, and the Giorgio that would have been there
Hmm.
if she had not occupied her mind, her katra, or whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
that she, returns to her normal Giorgio self for the timeline and
Yeah.
dies.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very quantum leapy.
Yeah. Wibbly wobbly, timey wimey stuff.
Yeah, only that it is her. It's just a slightly different her because it's
Hmm.
her from the mirror universe, but changed through her experience in the prime universe, which is, of
Yeah.
course, towering her apart because what is it, 1,000 years in the future they are, something like that?
Yeah, 940-ish. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
920 actually, excuse me.
as the centuries moved on from Discovery's original timeline, the mirror universe and the prime universe have been moving further and further apart. There's
Mm.
that nexus point that was so commonly reached around that time. And so that's starting to affect Georgiou because she does not belong in this timeline. And
Yeah.
so she's glitching out in a weird way. It's like she's a hologram or something. It's odd the way they do it.
Yeah, I see it
It's a
more
weird choice.
as her body trying to disintegrate.
Yeah,
Basically,
which
basically
there's another
parts of
way to
her,
do it. Yeah.
yeah, but parts of her were pulling away, trying to get
Hmm.
back to that mirror universe, and
Which
it's too far
it's
away.
I
And
can
so she
see
kept
what
having
they're
those
yeah.
attacks.
You want to show that visually in some fashion. It's just an odd way to do it because if you had a spasm like that, how could you possibly survive it? Because you think an aneurysm is just like a one blood clot in your brain is enough to like really damage you, like a stroke too, or a heart attack. There's all these slight changes to your body that could potentially kill you. But to have your body warp like that and
Mm.
return to normal and just experience a little bit of pain without much other lasting effect is weird. But it's visual shorthand to say, hey, something weird's going on with her. And so they use this glitching effect that you might see in the tracking back in the VHS days,
Mm.
that things are kind of wobbly or just like a glitchy from a digital signal or something, which is
Yeah.
not the way bodies work. Cats are fighting outside.
Damn it. Well, and that's the thing. It's like this has been happening pretty much the whole season with no explanation until this episode. Well, the episode before it really. As to, well, they knew what was going on after a little while because Culber's smart like that, but there was not a whole lot they could do about it. So that's the funny thing is that they end up at this place where Carl's just hanging out, just
Carl's
waiting.
makes me think of Carl's Jr. Which
Carl.
would be funny if the big Carl's Jr. star was behind him instead of that big rock with a hole in it.
Well, that's not even, I mean, that's his actual appearance is the big
Yep.
rock with a hole in the middle of it, but you don't see that until the
So
very
that's
end.
him. So
Yeah.
so the
He's just
projection.
it's a projection, yeah.
Okay. So his guy that looks like he's in Guys and Dolls is just
Hmm.
up there inside the house fighting now.
Billy Cats. But
Yeah.
yeah, the thing is that I figured out that it was the Guardian of Forever before the reveal, and I was actually glad that I was right. And at the same time, I was just also kind of like, oh man, I wish I hadn't thought about it so hard. Would have been a nice surprise, but
Wow.
it's hard
Well,
to it's hard to surprise me.
yeah, sometimes if you're, a deep enough fan that you'll pick up on things other viewers might not. And
Yeah.
also that you'd pick up on things that the casual viewer might not know at all and have somebody have to explain it to him. It's like, was that a big deal? Because he said it like it was a big deal.
Oh
I am
yeah.
the guardian of forever.
Well,
With a big old reverb on him.
they basically, I think, kind of what they did was Carl started saying it and then it reverted into the TOS Guardian of Forever voice.
Yep.
And they made it sound, they cleaned it up so it didn't sound as
So it didn't sound
1960s.
like it was recorded in mono.
Yeah, exactly. Um, but yeah, they used that because that's what he sounds like. And he is the gateway. He's just using a projection as something familiar, a human like projection in order to get Giorgio to do what she needs to do.
Yeah, he's a bit like Marvel's the the Watcher,
Mm,
especially from the What If, where the Watcher gets tired of just watching and wants to interfere because keeps seeing universes being destroyed and people dying unnecessarily when somebody can step in and stop it.
mm,
And so that he does, much to the disappointment of the other Watchers, including Jason Isaacs, who was playing Lorca. So that's a fun little crossover there.
mm-hmm.
Somebody
Yeah.
you find voice acting a lot. There's a villain, Jason Isaacs has probably played it.
Mm.
Still would be my ideal Doctor Doom. Oh my God, but
Yeah,
I don't think
it'd be
we'll
so
ever see
good.
that
It'd be so good. Um,
unless he does it in animation, which is a
yeah.
possibility, I suppose.
Well, and Carl does say that he's hiding.
Yeah,
Be
yeah,
Yeah, because when he shows what he is, they're like, "Well, why are you here?" "Oh, I'm hiding. There are people who would use me for bad things, and I don't want to let them."
yeah, yeah. He refers to the temporal Cold War,
Mm-hmm.
and considering I've already forgot his name, but our Cronenberg character
Give me a second. Um, God, Kovich.
Kovich, right? That Kovich was involved in the temporal Cold War and still has this invested interest in time travel, which
Mm.
we understand because you'll find out who he is at the end of the series.
Yep.
That he understands what's happening to Giorgio because it's probably something he's seen before, is
Mm-hmm.
people who have been disconnected from their timeline and what that does to them. So yeah, yeah, you could see why he would hide if people want to use time travel to their own ends.
Well, the thing is that you can go through the gate of the Guardian of Forever and fuck everything up.
Oh,
You can
easily.
absolutely change the past,
Yeah.
and that sucks. But I really loved Carl. The end of this episode makes me cry a lot.
Well, it is a big farewell.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
it's I love how Giorgio comes back and now she understands all of it. Now she understands the journey. She understands why she has to go back. And she basically has now become that mother figure that she was in the Terran universe, but without all of the, killy stuff, without wanting to kill everyone. I mean, obviously they're friends and it took a while for them to even get there, but
Well, when she
yeah.
comes back, she assumes she lost,
Mm-hmm.
that she failed whatever test this was because she failed to convert Michael, which is the agenda she brought with her.
Yep.
She thought it was about Michael. It's not as about her.
It was about her.
It's about weighing her soul. It's that whole thing, like the weighing your soul against a feather. Um,
Very Egyptian, that.
yeah, and so she's being tested, but not tested for what she thinks she's being tested on. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she went in there thinking she knew the answers and she didn't. It's, how have you grown? How have you changed your nature from, what this universe crafted you to be?
Yeah.
You're molded in the mirror universe to be a specific person, and your experience in the prime universe, have you changed enough that you can still exist in the prime universe without being a problem? Can you continue to improve? And I know that this preceded a lot of talk about the Section 31 series that was on everybody's lips. But this took place after she was already in Section 31, so we already knew that was probably going to be a prequel,
Mm.
which is upsetting because this is the Giorgio we want to see. We don't want to
Yes.
see Section 31 Giorgio, which is partly why I think why the movie failed.
Mm.
is it that's not the Giorgio we want. I mean, it's fun. It's a fun character, being the rebellious, give no fucks character that she is. But Michelle Yeoh in this is so damn good.
She's so good.
The dramatic performance she puts on, and to be, in these scenes with Doug, in the scenes with the Sonequa, incredible
Hmm.
acting. And this is why, she won an Academy Award. This is, the Michelle Yeoh that finally got her accolades, for that Everywhere, Everything, All at Once movie.
Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yep.
Um, she deserved more awards well before that. She has been killing it for decades.
Oh yeah. But this, yeah, it showcases her talent. It shows this other side to the character, this dramatic, serious, conflicted part of the character where she's battling between what the mirror universe calls for her to do as emperor and what she wants to do as this changed person. And how do you balance those things without exposing yourself? Because we know the mirror universe is always about ambition and taking control when you can, being surrounded by possible assassins, because that's how you move up in rank,
Mm,
is you kill the person ahead of you, and that's not sustainable.
yeah.
We that's the ancient Rome kind of thing is
It's a
like just
stupid way to
that,
rule.
yeah, that constant clamoring for power, and that all it takes is a knife to the back for you to get into a position of power. It's like has nothing to do with your ability or anything. It's just opportunity.
Yeah. So yeah, I cried a lot during that final scene between Michael and Giorgio.
Yep.
And yeah, there were actual literal tears going down my face because they're both just so good. They're so good
Yeah.
together. I mean, they're great individually, but when you put them together, it was magic. It was magic. And I became very emotional.
Yeah.
And
Imagine if we had a Section 31 type television series that, they had been discussing, but with the redeemed Giorgio.
that would be amazing.
And to get that kind of conflict between, who she used to be and who she's trying to become, while engaging with all this intrigue stuff and that kind of morally gray zone that Section 31 works in, that really we ended up kind of with a weird Guardians of the Galaxy kind of weird knockoff thing that, yeah,
It didn't quite
it's
work.
very didn't quite work. But yeah, it was quite the parting, and for some reason, Michael decides to treat it as if Giorgio died
Hmm.
rather than went back in time. Because you would think records might show a Giorgio living, back in the prime timeline.
Yeah, but who's going to go looking for it if Michael tells them she's dead?
Yeah, and if she changes her identity to hide from whoever might be s- seeking her for
Mm,
whatever reason, but we find out that happens anyway in the Section 31 movie, unless that happened beforehand. So it must be a prequel
yeah.
because it's a different Giorgio. That's like Giorgio before she joined Section 31, which
No,
is
it's hard to say because as far as timeline wise, we've got a young Rachel Garrett there. Now Rachel Garrett was
right,
introduced in Star Trek The Next Generation, which is like
right.
at least 80 years after the original series.
So that's just
So,
more problems that
yeah.
Section 31 brings up. It's just,
Hmm.
it's like, it's a third rail. It's just
Yeah.
difficult to touch that movie without having something go terribly wrong.
Yeah, it was just not a
Um,
great idea.
yeah, it had potential, but I don't know what they did. And I can understand why, because by then Michelle Yeoh had won her Academy Award, was very much in demand, and so you had to get her when you could. It's kind of like the
Yeah.
Jet Reno thing too with Tig Notaro is, yeah, she's a gigging comedian. You can
Hmm.
only get her sometimes when she's available. So there'll be episodes where there's no Jet Reno and then episodes where there are. And so you just have to catch as catch can. And
Well,
just
and
like we were talking with Bryce, is like there's only certain times you can get the actor
yeah.
on. for a portrayal.
Well, and that's the thing. And Tig came onto the show because she's friends with what's his name? Main guy, big guy, the head
Kurtzman?
honcho. Huh?
Kurtzman?
Yes, thank you. She's friends with Kurtzman, and he wanted her on the show. He talked her into it. So she's like, sure, why not? But
And then he gives her all this technical jargon to talk, and she's like, "Why? Why did you do
yes,
this to me? This is
yeah.
not who I am."
The interesting thing is that in this episode, she shows up and she hasn't been in a lot of episodes. And so they put in a line where Samus is like, I haven't seen you in 100 years or whatever.
And
Since
she's
the
chewing
beginning
on
of
black
time.
licorice. Black
Ugh.
licorice.
Ugh.
And I like how many people say, "Hey, you can't have food
Yeah, you can't
in
have food in
here."
here. Oh yeah, that's she's always great. I love anything that comes out of her mouth as Reno. We don't get a lot of what's going on in, with the Discovery crew in this episode, and that's okay because they're finishing this up with part two. But we do get a lot of uh, a bit of stuff with most of the characters, but
Yeah.
Saru and Book, and they're see they the whole thing is there's this ship that is at the center of where the burn happened and spread out across the universe, and they know now that it was a Kelpian ship because they came across, they received a transmission that was partial, but it showed clearly a Kelpian, and so they're trying to stably connect to this ship, but because of all the interference around it, they can't get it quite right. And Book is like, I'm gonna read the manual. And so he reads the manual, and then he's the one who figures out how to make it work, how to connect with the ship. And yeah, it takes some tech that isn't exactly Starfleet. In fact, it's Orion. And he read a second manual as well. But I'm just like,
Yep.
dude, when you get going, you really get going.
Yeah, that's something Saru said to him is make yourself useful. It's like that's what you can do. Is
Mhm.
if you want to help out around here, find a way to make yourself useful. And it's like
And
read the
he
manual.
does.
And it's like, okay. And
Yeah.
yeah, he finds a way to break through the interference and connect to the ship. And yeah, it works.
Mhm.
And even Jet Reno's impressed. She's like,
Yep.
okay, got
Yeah.
got that working.
It's yeah, that's basically most of the stuff that we get on the ship is trying
Yeah.
to connect with this other ship, this
Yeah, we
Kelpian
get a
ship.
little bit of Stamets.
We
Yeah.
get some
Yeah, I forgot the name too. But performed by Blue.
yeah, what is their name?
Yeah, I forgot.
Uh it's a very female sounding name
Yep.
because I think originally they were classified as female at birth,
Mhm.
as far as in Star Trek. It's gonna bug
Should
me.
I look it up? Because this is gonna be a issue.
Yeah, and I'm gonna kick myself as soon as you say it. So it might be faster to just look up Blue Del Barrio.
Yeah, basically what I'm doing. Okay. I need to not look at images. I need to look at something else. Okay. Oh, you're not helping. Uh, Adira.
There it
Adira
is.
Tall.
Adiratal. Yeah.
First openly non-binary actor playing the first non-binary role in Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
So, yep, they, them.
They, them. Yeah. Yep. Do you have anything else you want us to talk about with this episode?
Get a little bit of Mirror Detmer, a little bit of
Oh,
Mirror Oh
both
Whoa.
okay, both of the Arians are on there as humans.
Yeah, we get Nielsen.
We get Nilsson and we get Arium.
Yep.
And the thing is that both um Nilsson, I can't remember the actor's name. She had to stop being Arium after season one. She couldn't continue doing it. And so that's when Hannah Cheeseman came in and took over the role of Arium. And so you've got both Ariums out
Mhm.
of makeup on the bridge. And I loved that.
Yeah, this Arium in the Mirror universe never had the shuttle accident, and
Mhm.
so isn't in the cyborg kind of get up.
Yeah. She probably never married Steven either.
Yep.
Poor Steven.
Yeah,
Played
because
by
career
Tyler
over
Hynes.
marriage. Yeah. Oh, wow. Really?
Yes, that was my
Cool.
first Well, actually, I'd seen Tyler Hines before. I just didn't remember because the first time I actually saw him was in Warehouse 13.
Oh,
And
yeah, Canadian. Makes sense.
yeah, you would be surprised actually how many shows are filmed in Canada. So many
Well,
shows.
yeah, tax breaks plus huge amounts of countryside and yeah.
Yeah. Well, a lot
And
of diverse settings.
yeah,
But yeah, that's the first
using
time.
Toronto for New York or Vancouver and yeah.
Yeah. That was the first time I saw him. I think he was like 22 or 23 at the time, so I didn't remember it was the same person. And then I saw that episode of Discovery and I'm like, I know that guy from somewhere. And then I just forgot about it. And then I saw a Hallmark movie. I watched a Hallmark movie with my mom that had Tyler Hines in it. I'm like, oh, I know this guy now. And
Yeah.
then I started going through IMDb and I'm like, oh, holy shit. He
Yeah, if
was in
you're
a,
a Hallmark viewer, you know Tyler by sure
yeah,
because he's the
everybody,
number one
everybody knows
male lead
Tyler.
actor of Hallmark movies. He is like it.
He's everybody's favorite. And it's
And
not
a
hard
good
to see
actor
why.
besides, because there's a weird sci-fi short thing he did that he's
Yeah,
really good into, and it's just one of those weird mind warpy kind of scenarios.
yeah. Chimera was what it was.
Yeah, Chimera. It's wild.
You can watch it on YouTube if you want,
Yeah,
and it'll fuck with your
yeah.
brain.
It's very experimental. It's
Yeah. It was
very
something.
trippy.
Well, that's the thing. He has this friend that was just not happy with the kind of work that he was getting, and
Hmm.
he wanted to do something different. And Tyler's basically like, okay, let's do it. What do you want to do? And so they worked on this together and created it together. And, it's obviously a labor of love of
Hmm.
something that is completely unaffiliated with anyone else. It's very indie. And yeah, you may think that Hallmark actors are kind of one note. You would be absolutely wrong when it comes to Tyler.
Well,
So
we just saw one in Nobody too. I mean,
yeah,
briefly.
yeah. So it's yeah. Anyway, we went off topic, but we
Yeah.
talked. It's my fault. I brought up Steven.
Well,
That
yeah,
was
you
actually the name of the character that he was
right.
playing. So
Yeah, that's something else is, what happens to Arium seemed like they didn't have the build up to it. And
mhm.
so we had to like, okay, we have to round out this character before we kill her off. There's times when Discovery does something like that where they didn't really spend enough time with a character and then suddenly they have to rush to catch up. And
I
Arium is like I think the biggest, most blatant case of that.
Well, I feel like it may have been because they couldn't keep doing the character because
Yeah, the
the
makeup.
makeup was just too much.
Well, that happened with what gosh, name of the series, the Australian series. Shit, with
Gotta narrow it down for me.
Oya and
Oh, yeah.
what the
Farscape.
fuck's Farscape? God damn, why couldn't I pull that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Farscape had this similar situation where the actor had trouble with the makeup.
Yeah, well, that was actually body paint, and it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily applications. I mean, the whole Arium head is really intricate, and she
Hmm.
couldn't even. I mean, the actor could barely eat.
Yeah.
It was really difficult for her to eat while she was in the makeup. And
Yeah.
I don't recall there being a specific story about it, but I just feel like well, and it makes sense because Control could take her over.
Yeah, it
So,
made sense with that too. It's weird that certain things get to the point where they're shooting that, they hadn't realized this would be a problem.
mhm,
It's like, oh, this makeup is a bad idea.
yeah.
The character's an interesting character, but the makeup, that's a problem. I mean, the time constraint alone, plus, the burden it places on the actor.
Mhm,
Yeah. Similar thing happened on Wizard of Oz, as the original Tin Man had a
mhm,
really bad reaction because basically they were using aluminum,
mhm.
pretty much.
Yeah.
And you get that in your lungs and you are messed up. And producers were thinking the guy was like faking it. And he's like, no, I am in the hospital nearly dying
Mhm.
because of this makeup job you did on me.
Yeah, well, they were really dumb about shit like that back then.
Yeah, and that the Scarecrow wasn't going to be played by the Scarecrow at the time. And it's like, what are you doing? This is the guy's whole bit is to be loosey-goosey.
Hmm.
Like that's his whole thing.
Yeah,
And you don't have him playing the Scarecrow, you need to fix that.
yeah. So
So, part
anyway,
two
part
of Terra
two,
Firma.
um, their farewell to Giorgio.
Yep. Oh,
And
something I was going to address. We get to see, because this is season three, we get the upgraded Discovery with the disconnected nacelles,
yeah, I love it.
which is, it's just bizarre. But there you go. It's another wild swing. And they have,
Hmm.
this responsive matter thing, programmable matter that they are
Hmm.
working with. And yeah, you could see that you don't really have to worry about the strain of the nacelles on, let's just call them wingtips, I guess, or,
Hmm.
you know, lack of a better term,
Yeah.
that you're
Well,
not really pulling anything. It's just they're connected through some kind of energy thing, but it makes you wonder if they experience power outage or something. Do they lose the nacelles? Do they go flying off on their own? It's like, how do they stay with the ship?
you're asking for a 21st century reason for a 31st century
Yeah,
issue.
it's well, it's I mean, it's an obvious thing to ask. It's like if your wheels were not attached to your car and yet they were still powered by some kind of energy source, one of the first questions you'd ask is what happens when I turn off the power?
I don't know. Maybe they have one of those things like a dedicated power line, like they do for the holodeck
Yeah. It's like, is that
for the
magnetic?
nacelles.
It's like what is the
I'm
source
gonna
that keeps the nacelles attached?
I feel like it's magnetic, might have been
Yeah.
mentioned. I can't remember, but
But it's
yeah.
interesting, just from an engineering perspective that some of the constraints that nacelles could put on the rest of the vessel is that you don't really have to worry about as much
Well,
because
the
there's
thing,
some bend there. There's,
yeah. Well, the thing is that they rarely are at warp. They use the spore drive.
yeah, that's another thing.
So
It's like, what are you even using your nacelles for? Because that's not where the impulse engines are, I don't think.
no, the engines, like the warp core itself, it's not in the nacelles. That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
So it's in engineering. So like there's engineering
Okay. So what did the
here.
nacelles do?
The nacelles are power the motion forward.
Oh, so they are the impulse engines.
Yes. Well, yes and no. They're both.
Okay.
You use them to go to
Uh,
warp. Well, okay. Stop making this harder than it is. Okay? It's like a car. All
right.
right? You've got your first gear, which is what you do when you're just meandering along, and you got your third gear, which is warp speed. So you're not always going to go warp speed. So
Okay.
the warp core is the warp core. Impulse engines are impulse engines, but it's all in engineering.
Okay, I get that part, but I thought the engines were separate, that the impulse engines are separate from the warp drive,
They
that they're
are,
unique systems.
yes, they
Okay.
are unique systems, but
And then
they
the sport drive
both,
is also a unique system.
yes, they got a lot of unique systems
Right.
on this ship. So, but yeah, anyway, I think that's it. I think we're good.
Yeah. Yep.
I think we've talked the hell out of this.
Yeah, we did. Just Discovery being a pretty ship. Need to say
So
that.
pretty.
It's
I
my
love it.
favorite design. I like the California Class 2 from Lower Decks. I really like
Mm-hmm.
that design too, but Discovery, just the basic, it's just simple shapes.
Mm-hmm.
Circle, triangle, couple of rectangles, boom, bam,
Yeah.
bosh, you're done.
And we've been watching too much Taskmaster.
Yep,
Um,
bosh.
Bosh. But it's so streamlined. It's not
Yep.
clunky at all. It's just beautiful.
Well,
It's
it's even
exquisite.
better than the Millennium Falcon for being able to squeeze in tight places because it's so flat. It's a
Hmm.
pizza cutter.
It's a pizza cutter,
Yeah.
literally and figuratively. Then we have a Discovery pizza cutter.
Yeah, it's like a weapon. You could throw it.
Yeah.
It's like a throwing star, like shuriken.
Yep. So there we go. There's our first Discovery episode. of shield population.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
what is that about? What was that you just
Oh,
did?
that was just me saying that, it's a sort of dense episode. There's, a lot going on with the whole universe Giorgio situation, and then the little bits that we get in the Prime universe, just a little, just some touches of character, which is nice because, that's why we watch the show. It's like, hey, remember these guys? The actual crew that you're watching?
Yeah.
Here's a little bit of them and their banter and them sciencing the shit out of things, like the Martian.
Yep. Sciencing the shit out of things. Okay. Well, then it's time to find out what our next episode is.
Yeah, was it the only one we haven't done is TOS now?
TOS,
Or is
yeah.
there something else we haven't done?
No, I'm pretty sure TOS is the only one we haven't hit upon yet.
Yeah, it's kind of early days. We haven't even done one of the TOS movies, which is wild considering how many there are.
Well, there's 6.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, 6 out of 950 or whatever we're at now is just
yeah,
kind of a small fraction.
Yeah. We are actually at 952
All right.
total since 2 days ago. Okay, so let's see what I can find out here. Give me a random number between 1 and 952. Really? Come on.
It didn't answer?
Nope. Give me a second.
Oh, got
Give
dark
me
outside.
a random number between 1 and 952. 265.
Ooh. Next generation?
Probably. Let's see. Scrolling, 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 scrolling.
Watch it be Voyager.
I don't think so.
Nah.
265. I keep overshooting. 265 is Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 6, Episode 20, The Chase. I know exactly which episode this is.
Oh, interesting. You got one up on me.
This is one of the few that I know from the title which one this is. So yeah, that's what we're doing. Next time, I gotta highlight this so that I don't forget what it is. Good grief, Brandy. Come on, come on, come on. There it is.
Come on.
Come on. Come on.
Come
on. Give me a second, guys, while I'm making annoying noises and get this where it needs to be. Perfect. Okay. So there we go. There's your homework assignment, everyone. Watching Season 6, Episode 20, The Chase from Star Trek The Next Generation. Dave, do you have anything you want to tell people about or where they can find you, darling?
You can find me most places under DJ Evil Dave. That includes Tumblr, Blue Sky, YouTube, Bandcamp. I started a Halloween playlist since October's around the corner. It just kind of dawned on me. It's like, hey, maybe I should make a playlist on Bandcamp because Spotify's kind of weird these days. So yeah, and Bandcamp just to draw people over to some of the artists I listen to, and yeah, it's there's some covers of some Halloween classics there. So yeah, as well as original songs by artists that have a Halloweeny theme. So yeah, it's about 40 songs long at the moment. I'll add to it as things go along. So
nice.
Yeah, that's what I have.
And you can find me basically on Blue Sky and Instagram if you want. I don't know why you would, but if you want. I think we keep forgetting that we have an email address.
Oh yeah. Never think of us getting any feedback.
Yeah. Which is okay. Yeah. So yeah, we do Boldly Go, which is a Strange New Worlds podcast. So we'll be doing the most recent episode of that on Monday because it's a holiday for us and we'll have time to do it. So we might actually get back into a schedule. And yeah, so check out Boldly Go. And I do, of course, the Unready Room with my friend Dan. We do that on Saturdays at noon Mountain Time. Figure it out for yourselves, guys. You know how to do math. And you know how to use your clock on your phone, right?
It's Greenwich -7.
Yeah, that doesn't mean much to the people in the US. That
Right.
means more to people in Europe.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so we do that every week that a new episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds comes out. Star Trek period, honestly. So, yeah. So that's fun, and you can watch it on YouTube after the fact if you can't watch it live, depending on where you are in the world. So, and that's Dan's YouTube channel, Kurt Ratz Productions. Thanks again to Dan for allowing us to use his spreadsheet, and thank you, Tim, for checking in this week. I appreciate that, and
Gotta check in.
and of course, Patrick, who's just always awesome. And everybody else, we love you. Thank you for listening. And we'll talk to you in a week.
Bye.
Bye,
Farewell.
bye.
I'm gonna go walk through this stone with a hole in it.
Okay, bye.
Skilla.